as we're live.
Cock.
All right. All right, let's try not to drop every bad word in the book as we get set for a live broadcast here.
It's Gruden Day.
It's Gruden Day. Ain't that something?
We're coming wild.
Oh, there he is.
All right.
Abe
So
Sturcio
let's
on the ones and twos.
let's
Yeah.
get the Chop Sports over here. Let's get me the live video. All right, here.
We
Share
got a
this
couple
out.
people filing in.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, Jack? You know how I could see that? Because if you open on Facebook on your phone, you could see the people that as they file in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I
didn't
don't
know
know if that's good or bad because I have
Don't know.
anxiety.
But let's
over
get rolling,
everything.
AJ. Here we go, baby.
All right.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily right here on a Tuesday, coming to you live from the, I almost said the Built Ford Tough. Jesus Christ, I listen to too much Boomer and Geo. Live from the Flipping Made Easy Studios here in Matawan, New Jersey. Sturch, Gooch, of course, AJ Bascombe behind the glass, and a special guest in studio right now, and one less viewer on our stream here as Scoop Espo has entered the building. Scoop, what's up? How are we? I'm glad you're doing great. Grand, wonderful. I'm glad your coach is out of the news.
Scoop does not have a mic. He's here.
He does
but
not
will
have a
be
mic because I
speaking with us
refused to
today.
give him a mic. No, I'm kidding. We didn't have the time. But Scoop, I'm just glad your coach is no longer the focal point of any other coaching debacles in the NFL. For now, yeah, I'm sure he'll be back in it. But I will say, boy, oh boy. Look, last night I saw Jim Slobin, resident TMZ reporter for Chop Sports, post that John Gruden was out or on his way out, or there was the emails and this, that, and the third. And I got mad at it because I'm like, dude, I just want Chop Sports, the Facebook group at least, to be just more about sports, to debate, to talk fantasy, to talk whose team is better, which players are better, shit like that. Man debate, right? Or women debate, whatever, whoever. The sports
I definitely
fan.
agree with that. But
I
there's
just
certain things
don't-
with this. It's a bomb, bro.
I know. It's just it's annoying. It's tedious. This is the kind of shit that you never want to see in sports. Like this is the kind of stuff that rubs everybody the wrong way because everybody likes this guy. You know what I mean? Like there was nobody out there that was like, John Gruden's annoying, or you didn't like him because
I wouldn't say that I didn't like him, but I definitely don't like him.
Well,
Like, I'm just
loved him.
indifferent.
I loved him. I thought the Hard Knocks thing last year was hilarious. Knock on wood if you're with me, man. All of his little quips like split 99-2 banana or whatever the hell it used to be called, that one play that he called on Monday Night Football.
I feel like that had like a racist connotation to it.
Oh my God. I mean, now that you think about it, right? Yeah, listen, man, I just, the John Gruden thing stinks. All the emails being discovered because of the Washington football team. So I blame those jerk offs down in Washington for being such scumbags.
Well, I blame fucking Gruden.
Well, yeah, you
too.
could blame Gruden too, but I'm just saying, like, the culture down there would have never been acceptable in any other time frame.
You mentioned pre-show when we were talking in the green room how the NFL has a hypocrisy problem, which we all know.
Oh, it's such a
from
double
the gate.
standard,
They got
man.
Eminem performing at the halftime
Eminem,
show.
like of all people, and I'm one of the biggest Eminem fans ever. I love his music. I love his freestyles. I love everything he's ever
Eminem
said.
Sucks.
Huh?
I'm not a fan of Eminem either.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Well, and
Old Eminem maybe
even Dr.
when he was-
Dre. Listen, Dr.
when he
Dre,
was cancelable, but now
Snoop.
the bearded brown-haired Eminem.
It's
he's
just a little weird. It has not grown on me either. But like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, you're telling me that these guys,
Eminem is brunette.
the real Slim Shady sat down. But you're telling me right now that these guys, are acceptable now, right? Remember they tried to cancel Eminem like a couple months back. They're like, oh, did you hear and Eminem was like, that's cool. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's your NFL representation in the Super Bowl now, and now all of a sudden, I also find it very, very weird in the timing of all this, considering the fact that I remember I was driving somewhere on a Friday, found out about the whole Michelin tire lips ordeal. Like I was like, oh God, that's cringeworthy.
Yeah, cringe.
It sucks. I'm like, he's going to get in trouble. Right. And then he coached on Sunday. Right. And now more emails come out.
Here's what's the
timeline
funny
is just
part
weird.
I'm surprised that he coached on Sunday because he knew what he sent in these emails, and he's like, oh, well, that chain is rough because he had this veiled attempt at getting out in front of it where he was
Right.
like, also, guys, I said something about Goodell too.
Yeah, well,
And then he was like,
he ain't wrong about Goodell. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
But you could not like the guy, but in this day and age,
Yeah, you can't say that.
You can't email things like that to
You can't
people.
say it.
You can't say it. You can't do anything about it. And I understand it was 10 years ago, and as crazy as it sounds, 10 years ago was a very different
1000%
scope
different place.
in
There
terms
wasn't.
of-
There wasn't. This wasn't a thing.
It was on its way.
These words that
This
he
was
used.
that was the Michael Sam era, and
Well, that was
obviously-
2014. And I remember in 2014, this is me. Now I'm talking from me. 7 years ago, right? The culture was different in this country. It was. And don't tell me it wasn't.
And then along
Because
came
when-
Cap, and then that thing changed.
Right. And then draft night on 2014 on draft night, I was worried about Johnny Manziel being drafted by the Cowboys. Ultimately, they select Zach Martin instead, right? Great choice. But then at the end, I'm like, Michael Sam thing had come out, and he was entering a draft, and I was like, in my head, I'm like, boy, if the Cowboys draft this guy, it is going to be like people who already call Romo with a different connotation. This is going to be rough. This is going to be rough because it's just going to, right? But that's all I said. You know what I mean? And that was it. But then now comes out that Gruden's saying this about this guy and making fun of Jeff Fisher for it. And look, he's screwed, man.
Like he literally he checked every box.
He did check every
in
box.
terms of a bigot. He's like racist, homophobic.
Well, no, according to Adam Schefter,
right, like-
according to Adam Schefter, it was a quote clean sweep. That's what. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you kidding,
Oh, me
Schefter?"
and Shefty agree.
Schefter
It was a
said that
clean
on
sweep.
national TV. It was a
So-
clean
so-
sweep.
I think that's actually funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But like, come on.
I think in all reality, if you want to see funny, go on Ghetto Gronk and just look at his memes.
Oh, boy.
First of all, the one that got deleted because he had to post it again. I want to meet this guy because
I do too. He's a
Ghetto
funny
Gronk
dude.
is a legend. And his first series of 10 in the carousel, there was some like really edgy ones that they got taken down by
What about? I
Instagram.
said the and I put an H at the end.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, like,
Oh, that's
dude,
great.
so good. But
So
it's like
good.
it's bad, but it's really funny.
in pure comedic standpoint, very funny.
Yes,
But all this, we could all agree that Gruden sucks, right? Maybe some agree that he sucks more than others, but Gruden, he can't stay. That's done. That
well,
ship sailed.
here's my question. Okay, this is my question to you and to basically all the listeners and the viewers and AJ and Scoop. And so Gruden does all this stuff, right? Says all these words. He stepped down and he's done in Vegas. Does he get another job in the NFL?
No, not a chance.
That's not a real question.
No, it's a real question.
No,
you
he
know
does
why I
not.
raised that?
No TV job, no nothing.
You know why I raised that real question? Because of those who have gotten second chances in the NFL.
Different scope of time.
Michael Vick killed dogs, he went to jail, and he came back, and now he's still an analyst in the
But
NFL.
all those things he did. He went to jail. He paid his debt to society. He did the right thing after that.
So
It's
what
hard-
does Gruden got to do now?
maybe be 25 years younger because it's already past his time.
But I'm saying, what does he have to do to right the ship for himself?
retire into the sunset, go live on a beach somewhere, enjoy your family, and enjoy that 40 mil because that's it for you. He is not get Dave. I don't know how long you want to have the running bet, but like at what point will you be like, yeah, Gruden's done?
With this
I'm
situation,
saying like it's immediate.
I
right
understand
now.
that, but this situation, like I'm trying to let you guys know that there are other people who have done really, really
course.
bad things that are back in the NFL. Like Antonio Brown. Listen, Antonio Brown last year assaulted a delivery driver, cursed at cops in front of his
If
kids,
John Gruden was,
and was the biggest piece of
John
shit.
Gruden was good at football, then it
Well,
might
that's
be
a problem.
I mean, well, we just opened the show with the idea that the NFL has a hypocrisy problem. We could just highlight there's a million ways where there's
It took now hear me out again. It took Tom Brady to say, like, I understand that guy's a POS right now, but he would be really good in this offense. Okay, let's go get him. Right? They got him done.
Yeah, but there was
right?
there was
But
plenty
now
of teams
let's
involved.
just say it all crumbles in Tampa. Let's just say, I don't know, Bruce Arians has a health concern. Knock on wood that it doesn't happen. But they need a new head coach. Who is to say that Tom Brady's like, you know what? John Gruden would fire this team up. John Gruden would be that dude to bring us back and as if we didn't miss a beat.
there will be no more John Gruden.
I don't know, man.
You will that's it.
Listen,
You will
I've
see
seen,
no more
I've seen
John
a lot
Gruden.
of Greg Hardy
Not
was
only this,
re-employed in the NFL by the Dallas
this,
Cowboys.
He's a player, but not only this. John Gruden took a decade off anyway, so he was like almost on his way out the door coaching. No one's going to pay. It took a 10-year, $100 million deal to bring him back.
Shout out to ESPN, by the way.
Is he going to get a 10-year, $100 million deal?
No. But
So
shout
he's
out to
done.
ESPN, by the way, who all they did was talk about the fact that, his Raiders tenure. Hey, ESPN, this is on your watch. This was all happening while he was employed with you guys. That's a fact.
Well, they would just fire him and act like nothing happened.
But
they do with everybody else.
they're spinning it right now. They're spinning it to talk about the Raiders.
So
Here's the difference.
That's bullshit.
Here's the main difference. Coaches, they're supposed to be leaders. They're the face of the organization. And Antonio Brown, he's a player. He's a part of the team.
Agreed.
He's not supposed to be the leader. He's not supposed to be the figure face for this team.
I
So
agree.
it doesn't matter what he does, actually.
you don't have
He's supposed to be
Antonio
the
Brown.
talent.
You don't have
How
Antonio
ass
Brown.
backwards is
You don't
that?
have Antonio Brown standing up in front of 60 men, 70 men every day and telling them what to do and how to be. Right, you got Antonio Brown as just one of those 60 men. He might have a voice here or there in his receiver group, but you're the head coach, bro. And not only that, let's talk about this. We all agree, like I was saying, we agree that Gruden is done. You might not think that he's completely done, but
I think he's done right now.
at
Yeah,
his
obviously
age-
it's hot.
At his age and just the way the public is and society is right now, John Gruden's not getting another job, especially given the scope of like how big of an issue it is with black head coaches getting opportunities. They're going to give Gruden an opportunity over a guy that
it'll be
it's
the
just-
same thing.
It's
as
never going to
no.
happen again. It's
With
too
that,
bad.
with
of
that
PR.
argument, I totally
He's not
agree with.
that good of a coach, and he inherited a championship team in Tampa. Dungy
Yeah.
built that team, and Keyshawn went on record to say that today. Keyshawn went on record to say that he thought Gruden was a fraud since day one.
Keyshawn, Randy Moss, everybody, these guys are all
I'll give
speaking out.
Keyshawn
Which
credit.
I
Keyshawn
get.
did not like him when he was playing.
Keyshawn
so-
didn't like anybody, first
but,
of all.
But all that aside, like I said, we agree that it's done. Whatever it is for now, the coaching situation is over. From a football standpoint now, and an organizational standpoint, and a fan base standpoint, what does this mean for the Raiders going forward?
This
well,
is
they
important.
actually hired a fantastic interim coach right now. Okay,
His name is like Balsakia.
Rich Bisaccia.
Bisaccia was a special teams coach for the Dallas Cowboys for a long time. He is a player's coach. They are going to love playing for this guy. I think on the immediate, with the skill that they have as a team,
Do
they
you
can
know
still compete.
The best way to describe, like, here's the one thing that you'll say about an interim coach coming off of a controversy. The best thing, and the one thing that most interim coaches have in common, is that they're players coaches, because you can't come in there and try and rule the
They're the Dan Campbells.
Yeah, you have to come in and kind of like, look, guys, I'm going to fix this. We're going to have a good culture here. But the guy's a 20-year head coaching veteran in the league, and he's had zero head coaching experience, not just on this level, on any level. So he has a great opportunity in front of him. But let's be real, he's a stopgap. He's a placeholder for whoever they decide to hire. But I was speaking to a couple of my Raider fan buddies, shout out to Joey D, and he was like, look, obviously it derails what was a 3-1 season, because going into this week, I picked the Raiders.
So did I.
But really, in hindsight, with all the controversy that happened on Friday, and that team probably was just uprooted, the distraction.
You would have
That's-
changed your pick.
Yeah, not that I would have changed my pick, but potentially, like, that happened directly after we recorded.
Right.
That's when the news broke. So
Yeah.
I might have changed my pick. I would have 11, but but he derailed the season. But going forward, I think this actually puts the Raiders ahead in the rebuild for their future, because Gruden came in and he flipped everything upside down. Got rid of Khalil Mack, made a bunch of trades. Amari Cooper, they did a lot.
Thank you, Gruden.
They made a lot of moves, and they flipped the organization on its head. And now you were giving Gruden the 3 years to, like, 2 years, 3 years to kind of get his roster set. And now all these players, they're Gruden guys, like the Ruggs, thank Gruden.
I'm
for
wondering-
CeeDee
I'm
Lamb
wondering
as
what
well.
these
You could
guys-
thank Gruden for CeeDee Lamb as well. because
Yes.
definitely should have picked him.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
But
I'm wondering what happens. Like what other trickle down effects is this going to really, like? Apparently, there's, what was it? Did anybody read the number of how many emails? 650,000. Is that what it was?
no, there can't be. This
Yeah,
is
I
not
think
Hillary Clinton.
I'm
We'll
serious.
put it this way, not in this specific
It's
chain.
not Hillary Clinton.
There's 65,000.
They should have friggin'
There's 65,000 emails maybe in total, but this isn't like the exchange between these two. It's like the email that was.
What I'm saying is they found this in a thread and they're like, oh my God, that's the John Gruden. That's not Jay Gruden, the one that's out of the NFL. That's John. He's in Vegas right now.
And
So my concern is, who's next? Because this ain't over. This is Pandora's box being open, bro.
I'm assuming that Jay Gruden is coordinating somewhere. I would imagine, right?
Jay Gruden, I think he's out of the NFL.
He's out of the NFL.
He's out of the, he was
Is he out of
he
the
was
league?
with the Redskins stuff.
Deuce Gruden is still with the team.
Who the hell is Deuce Gruden?
You don't know who Deuce Gruden
So-
is?
so
I'm gonna
what I
go
feel
get a
bad
picture
for
of
is,
him
like,
right
look,
now. Deuce Gruden is
it's
John
just-
Gruden's strength coach son, who's an animal.
All right, well then he's probably not going to be around either. to
Probably,
be
I'm
honest.
pretty sure he's probably also a racist. But
Shit. Yeah, it might be true.
yeah, John Gruden, he's done forever.
But I'm just
The
saying,
Raiders, there is going to be some trickle down effect. I hope that we don't see, like you mentioned, McVay was on that staff.
Well, I
potentially
didn't
with
want to
the
mention any
Redskins.
names, but listen,
And they
there's
were the
other
Redskins
guys
at the time,
on the
so I can't
staff that you have to worry about because look, we live in a world right now where if you don't say something, if you don't speak up and say like that's wrong, guys, you shouldn't be saying that, guys. If you don't say anything, unfortunately, your silence is an admission to guilt, being that you're on this thread. Even if you say LOL, bro, if you say LOL in that and you reply all LOL, you're agreeing with everything that John Gruden just said. Like the Rachel Nichols thing. Good job, Scoop. Like these are situations where now there's going to be a lot of other people under fire, and it sucks. It sucks for them because you know what? Let's just use McVay as an example. And I'm not saying he's a part of this chain. I'm just saying he was a part of that staff, right? Let's just say he says LOL to
I
something.
could almost
Are you
guarantee.
kidding?
I could almost guarantee you, Matt LaFleur was a part of that staff as well.
That's what I'm saying, man. LaFleur, bro, you're a head coach. That's scary.
It's
That's scary.
It's not that scary. To
It
me.
is scary because look, this is how things happen. This is how the trickle down effect happens. Yesterday, somebody commented on one of the threads, on one of the 15 threads about John Gruden on Chop Sports Facebook group last night. Somebody said, "Well, then, all I said was this. I said, unfortunately, the people are like, oh, cancel culture. I was like, this isn't really cancel culture. This is Gruden kind of screwing himself, and he's got to admit it and own up, and that's it, right?
It's not cancel culture.
It's not cancel culture.
If you
But then,
said,
like,
if you would have said rubber lips and that was it, then you might have been able to explain it away as he talks too much, which
Right.
is what he tried to do
Right.
initially.
And what I'm saying is this: by I said last night, I said by him doing this and by this coming to light, you just have to own up, goodbye, say your goodbyes, say you're sorry, and leave. And then of course somebody's like, well, what about what Jerry Jones did in 2017? I'm like,
Wow.
come on.
I don't mean to cut you off.
What do we
and
got?
cut off the Gruden talk, but Kyrie is out.
I was going to say, I breaking news.
They are not letting Kyrie play at all until he's either fully with the team. So they're not going to let him do this half practice.
But he's not a
practice.
distraction. Don't worry.
So no Kyrie. I
It's
mean,
good-
wow.
It's a good thing I had a fantasy draft last night. I was like, you know what?
You didn't take him, did you?
I did. I was like, you know what? We're in the 5th round now. Kyrie
Oh,
on
my
a points per
God.
game basis. Like,
All right,
dude,
well,
he's like top 10 in fantasy.
I believe it. He's a good ball player.
He's a top
I hate
200.
you.
Now he's like top 200.
I
I
mean,
hate
now
you.
he's gonna get
All right,
vaccinated.
but before we go
He
on
is.
to
He is. But I'm not going to get into all that crap. We've already
Yeah.
already dove into a million political debatable topics in the first 10
I
minutes.
will
of this
say
damn
this though. I will
podcast.
say this. I am very, very sorry, AJ. I am very hard on Kyrie, and I've been hard on Kyrie, and I'm not going to give my stance on this, but I do agree with him.
No.
So I gave my stance.
all right. So before
So,
we head
indirectly
into
giving your
the
stance.
Chargers Colts recap, I do
Ravens, Colts. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who cares?
Them too.
I do need to bring up Deuce Gruden. There we go.
Oh my God, he's an ox. He's an absolute stud, and he's an absolute definitely white supremacist.
Skinhead. Ladies and gentlemen,
He's
he is.
definitely a racist. Get him
Also-
off my screen.
Also, the mic is muted, so they didn't hear me call him a definite
well-
skinhead.
Why? Why would it be muted?
It was
Oh,
just
was
a
that an
picture.
overlay?
It was
I
just a
thought that was
picture.
the
Yeah.
video. Okay, so
So, definitely a racist.
3 times his
But
name.
in any event, there was a football game that was played last night. So unfortunately, the luster of this amazing football game was taken away by the news of John Gruden, and Adam Schefter's like, it's time to break this story at halftime. Here we go. And I'm just like, oh, Christ. But there was a game, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And I'm here to eat crow and say that Lamar Jackson is a good NFL quarterback, if not great. That kid lit up the scoreboard last night.
And guess what? He could throw.
There was a pause. If you want me to dissect it, I can dissect it.
If
there was
you're
a
gonna
couple
sit here-
throws where
if
I'm
you're
like,
gonna sit
oh,
here and
God.
say there's a couple throws.
Yeah.
I watch Aaron Rodgers every single game, and
And
guess what? Every game there's a couple throws.
Dak
I'm like,
Prescott
what the fuck
too.
is he
Dak
doing?
Prescott too. I'm
So-
on board. But I'm saying right now, the he can throw the football, and you know what it is? He makes these throws in which they're a little uncharacteristic of an NFL throw, like almost like a pass or a jump shot or what I mean? He's improvising, and that's what makes Lamar Jackson very scary for this Ravens offense. And now the Ravens offense is clicking. They don't even have their full staff yet. Bateman's on his way back. He's going to be another a weapon. So the Ravens, right off the rip, if you're looking at this team as a whole, the Colts blew it, but the Ravens balled out to get back in this game.
Yeah, bro.
The Ravens are once again the talk of the AFC because while Lamar Jackson came out and said, like, the league hasn't figured me out yet, I said, oh, yes, they did. Of course they did. The Colts looked foolish trying to get a hold of Lamar Jackson.
Final 18 minutes.
Yeah,
of the
I was
game.
gonna say,
the first, what was it, 47 minutes, or what is it, AJ? What was it?
With
3 minutes to go in the third
game, they had with 3 minutes left in the third, they had a 22-3 lead.
Yeah, so they gave up 19 points in 18 minutes. That sounds like the Packers lead that they had in the NFC Championship when Bostic fumbled. They had an 18-point lead with like.
But I will say this: there's one element to his game besides me thinking that he misses a couple throws here and there. He's got to protect the football. There's too many times he runs around and holds it like a loaf of bread. He's like a very Deion Sanders-esque runner where he's like, running around, the ball's up here, the ball's up here. I'm like, tuck that shit, put your shoulder down, or slide, learn how to slide. Stop going forward, because every time you go forward, you're susceptible to another
have to take better care of the ball. And I understand 100%. His coaches probably preach that to him on
every day,
pretty much every
play.
30 seconds.
Hold on to the ball.
Hold on to the football and slide and things like that. But
There
Lamar Jackson,
hold on to the ball, asshole.
Lamar Jackson filled out a little bit. I thought he was going to be one of these guys. He's hard to get your hands on him, so he doesn't take big hits. It's weird. I don't see Lamar Jackson.
He's like Vaseline, bro.
Even when he's in the open field and you're like, oh, he's a runner now, you could lay into him. Like, can you? You can't fucking just wind up and crack this dude because you miss. You just hit air.
Yeah.
So Lamar Jackson right now.
But can we talk about his weapons? Like, everybody talked about Marquise Brown, right? Marquise Brown balled out, but I'm telling you right now, you got to put more respect on Mark Andrews' name. The kid is a good tight end, and now
so
he moves
inconsistent. Though.
He moves back into the top 5, top 6 tight ends in football. And I put him behind Kelsey.
I don't know that he
never left.
But it was.
But I guess
he's
wasn't less
there.
touted. He's less talked about.
When we're talking about fantasy football, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in general.
No, not in general. He is not a good blocker. That is a fact.
I'm just watching him,
but
over 100 yards receiving as a tight end last night.
But we're talking about overall tight end. I wouldn't put him.
Well, wouldn't you say that his receiving ability, getting 140 yards in game, almost trumps a tight end being able to block well?
I mean, like, you're acting like he gets 140 yards a game. His season this year, he's been rather bad.
He's been very quiet.
Been great.
Statistically, he's been quiet.
One game up, so I'm not going to anoint him.
But I will say,
but I know he can't block.
As much as I don't like the broadcast, Steve Levy's okay, but like listening to Riddick and Greasy is just cringeworthy to me. But they did predict a lot of it. They're like, this is Andrew's time. This is Andrew's route. This is Andrew's coming over the middle in the flat. Blah blah blah. But
honestly,
if everybody at home,
you're saying that is because it actually happened.
Well, no, I'm saying
say that shit all the time.
No, but I'm saying if everybody at home could see it coming, how can the Colts not see it coming? You know what I'm saying? They're the defense, and the Colts defense is actually good. And then last night, all right, I'll ask this: is it the Ravens' offense is up here, and the Colts' defense is down here, or what did we see last night? Did we see the Ravens ball out, or
we saw a completely dominant Colts team for 3 quarters? Take their foot off the gas and think that they had the game won. And we saw a Ravens team that doesn't quit come back. But I think they match up well. What you got at the final score was about what they are. I know that sounds crazy because the Colts are 1-4 and the Ravens are 4-1. But I said yesterday going into the game, I really do like the way the Colts match up with the Ravens. Luckily for the Ravens, they probably won't have to run into that team because I do think the Colts kind of have their number, as crazy as that sounds, just by the way the first 3 quarters went. That offensive line, if they get going the way they did in the first half, they're going to be hard to beat, the Colts.
I mean, Jonathan Taylor alone was catching balls out of the backfield. And I think he's still running right now. You know what I mean? Like he had a great game. The Colts have a good offense. If Carson Wentz is at all any better than like last night was his best game in 2 years.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz finally, put it all together and didn't get hurt. You know what I mean? And like just put a great game together.
Are the Chiefs still Super Bowl favorites? No, they are not even.
Slinksy YT on YouTube. Thanks, man, for watching.
They're not favorites out of the division.
Yeah, I was like, they're going to say they might not make it out of the AFC West as the champions.
Right now, as it stands, they're not a playoff team.
I mean, if the playoff. Well, no, I'm just saying if the playoffs started today, they probably.
Yeah, I know that this is crazy with talk playoffs and MVP talk.
Well, it's 5 games in. We're a quarter of the way through.
We're a quarter of the way through. Quarter of the way MVP. It's a flip. You say Kyler, people say Lamar.
I say Josh Allen.
Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Dak.
Did you see him leap the other night?
And if it wasn't for the week 1 stinker, Rodgers is right in the mix too. So there's like 6 quarterbacks, and that's not counting anybody else. That's just quarterbacks.
That's just quarterbacks alone,
which
right?
It is a quarterback award, so it'll be
between
those 6.
But look, the Ravens did their job. They won a game. They're 4-1 now. They're playing great. They're playing great, and I think their defense finally stepped up a little bit towards the end when they needed to, because we were always talking about the Ravens defense in the first 5 weeks. Like, They lost a big loss in the beginning of the preseason where we're like, can they bounce back? And originally we were like, they haven't yet, but now they might have. They might have bounced back a little bit, and the Ravens are looking good, especially in that division where it's definitely.
And
winnable.
I don't want. You know how I am. I always pour cold water on things, and the Ravens are 4-1, and everybody's riding high. But I'd be remiss to not mention that they had glaring issues in the first half and the third quarter yesterday. So that Ravens team, they're 4-1, but like you said, their defense is susceptible. They really didn't play well until the final 20 minutes of that game. So I'm not firmly entrenched in believing in the Ravens just yet because I do see a lot of issues. I'm even though they're one comeback win with the Raiders away from being undefeated, I still think it's the Bills in the AFC.
The old saying I think still applies, and that is that good teams win, but great teams cover. And we saw that last night.
We saw that by a point, and I lost another one. So if we had to actually break down the records, Gooch this week, another 10-win log for you. We'll go into the standings on Friday when we update everything. But Gooch went 10-5-1 in his picks against the spread. Myself and AJ went 7-8-1. So, but AJ made a comeback last night and caught me because he took the Colts and I took the Ravens, and they did not cover. So thanks a lot, Baltimore. But we did bring up this one. Lamar is the first quarterback to have 400 plus yards and over an 86% completion percentage in NFL history. Decent thrower of the football. Look, again, I will knock the bad throws because I'm critical of everybody. Even when Dak lets one sail, I'm like, Jesus Christ, where's that one going? But again, last night, can't deny it. A lot of safe passes. Don't get me wrong. A lot of little dumps. Okay, it's a lot easier to get your high percentage up there when you're dumping it out of the backfield. There's not a lot of air yards last night. There wasn't.
Dumping out of the backfield, I think, is a little bit of a crazy statement. Let's go ahead and look at the receiving totals from the Ravens running backs yesterday.
No. I'm not talking about just him, just the running backs. I'm saying like wide receiver screens who make plays, and they're making plays in open field. They're doing well.
When you're throwing for 400 plus yards, you're going to have a little bit of everything.
Of course.
So you're going to need that, but he was balling out.
I think with the yards of attempt.
Somebody's blaming the Colts. Somebody's blaming the Colts zone defense. They're saying that there was I guess it was too soft.
Well, clearly, yeah, and that's what happens when you get a lead.
I clearly weren't playing man.
You dance with the girl that brought you. You don't change things up because you have a lead. Like you play with a defense that built you that lead. That's my philosophy. I would never, maybe a little adjustment here and there, but same thing when the final minute and a half of a game when there's no timeouts. It's unexcusable to give up the middle of the field. You got to play defense straight up. You know it because you have the coach now. You'll see leads disappear sometimes because
I did. I watched.
You got
the Panthers game was out of hand.
Exactly.
And then
it's like, what are you doing, bro? It's like you're giving them a chance. You don't want to give the team a chance with the final possession to tie it or take the lead.
Yeah,
McCarthy's a king at that.
All right.
And
well, McCarthy's 4-1, so I'm okay.
Shit about McCarthy.
Don't do it. Don't do it. This is a positive podcast since we've talked about John Gruden. So anyway, let's take a break, and when we come back, it is fantasy football talk time because we have to add people. I lost Allaire and Saquon Barkley. So, Chris, I need you. I need you this week, man. You got to help me out on the waiver wire because there's got to be people out there. I did draft Devonta Booker, and we'll talk about him when we come back. Myself and Gooch are both getting a little older. One of the first things to go is your vision. Thank goodness for our hookup over at Absolute Eyewear in Woodbridge, New Jersey, right on Main Street next to the train station. They have glasses for all ages, all budgets. They have safety glasses, sports glasses. They are a full-service powerhouse offering eye exams and even free lenses for the kids. They work with BCBS, AAA, AARP, giving massive discounts. They're open 5 days a week, closed on Wednesdays and Sundays. Call 732-326-3937 to get your first pair of Ray-Ban, Burberry, Coach, Polo, you name it, they got it. Go see Craig and Johnine right now. Like everything that guy does turns to gold. It's amazing. Moana was fantastic. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Chop Sports Daily. I'm telling you right now, we were just talking about it during break. The Rock.
Oh, we're back?
Yeah, we're back. We're talking about The Rock for a second, only because I was laying on the couch last night and I saw on Instagram The Rock was like, thank you for the #1 hit rap song. I'm like, what? I'm like, please don't tell me this guy entered the rap game now. Like, what else can this guy do? And apparently he's got the #1 downloaded rap song called Face Off.
Yep.
Face Off. And he's in the very end and he literally is rapping. The Rock raps. You're a rap god over there. You know what to talk. Is The Rock have a
I'm
future?
very, very proud to say that I do not even know what you're talking about.
I
As the resident rap god.
I suggest you go get involved
Also,
in The Rock's
I don't
rap
want to
game.
bring up the Ravens again, but I do want to give credence to Joe LaCourie's comment. Give Harbaugh some credit for putting him in a scheme that allows him to use his skill set. Definitely 100%.
Yeah.
That's good coaching.
Yeah.
So you can
100%.
blame the Colts in their defense, but Harbaugh kind of figured it out.
100%. All right. So we had some injuries yesterday or Sunday. In week 5 in general, we had some injuries. Obviously, Saquon Barkley goes down. One of your biggest waiver wire additions, Daniel Jones, goes down. We have Clyde Edwards-Helaire going down for an extended period of time. What the hell are we going to do, Gooch? You got to save somebody's lineups and save somebody's seasons, because right now I sit on a personal level 3-2 in one league, in the Chop League, which we have to win. I have to win so bad.
Slew of big injuries this week.
Yeah, a lot of injuries. What are we doing, bro? What are we doing?
We'll get to it. I'm going to skip over the quarterbacks because, you know, it gets redundant because the same guys are out there and
Okay.
it's a stream situation with quarterbacks. So you don't want to just go out there and add a quarterback with your waiver wire pickup because I took it off. You're not going to waste your waiver spot on a quarterback that will likely be there.
Mhm. You're right there, bro. Oh, you're juicing.
Juicing. All right. So to get into it. Obviously, everybody saw Saquon. He's out 4 to 5 weeks, and I don't think that they gave a timetable on Clyde Edwards-Helaire's
About 3 to 4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks. So either one of these guys.
knee injuries are tricky, man. You can't really take those
take
for
your
granted,
pick.
you know?
I personally would put Devontae Booker over Darrell Williams just for the simple fact that I don't see a clear number 2 after Booker. When Saquon went down, their fullback was the number 2. So they don't really have a guy. I'm sure they'll make a roster move, but there's going to be a guy that's coming in with almost zero experience.
And
Booker,
I listened to Gooch during draft day, and he said, go draft the handcuffs. And I
Gotta
did that.
draft the
I took
handcuffs.
Saquon Barkley with the 13th overall pick. So that's why Barkley is on my roster. Any other pick, you wouldn't be there. Barkley was there at 13. I took him late. I took Devontae Booker for this reason. And I was genius on my
I
part.
think
and your
Devontae
part.
Booker will put up some decent numbers. Who they play? They've got the Giants.
They got the Rams.
Giants got the Rams this week,
It's a
but
little- their run
because
defense
they're a
ain't that
hard
great.
team, they're a hard team to throw on, and the Giants' offense is they got Mike Lennon. They're going to stack the box, I would imagine. So it might not be the best.
Is Daniel
matchup.
Jones been ruled out? Not
Might
yet,
not be
right?
the
But he's
best
got
matchup. I don't think he's been ruled out, but
we'll see.
he hasn't been ruled in either. And we're
Very
getting,
true.
you know,
Very
the way
true.
he took that hit, I don't think he's playing this.
Yeah,
week.
he was
Just
on queer.
my
Dream Street.
gut feeling. So Devontae Booker is the clear ad this week for running back help. Darrell Williams comes in at a cool second. I think that he'll be used as far as a traditional running back, but when they want to throw the ball, it's going to be Jerick McKinnon. You'll see a little bit of him sprinkled in. I won't put him on the list because I only think that he might make a splash play, but he's not going to get the volume that Darrell Williams will get.
Gotcha.
Kenneth Gainwell makes the list for the final time. He might actually.
He's on my roster. I just don't know if I should use him.
You don't want to use the guy like this, but he belongs being rostered.
Okay.
Because if something happens to Miles Sanders, he's going to be the clear guy. And not to mention that even if something doesn't happen to Miles Sanders, he's been the more productive back. Sanders had a decent game, I guess you could say, this week. Did he?
Yeah, and Gainwell did nothing.
And
So
Gainwell
that's-
did nothing. So go figure. But
Yeah.
it's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde with the two of them all season. And Gainwell's actually outscoring him.
And of course, you added 2 guys that are over the 50%
two
threshold.
guys that I'm adding these guys because I have a feeling that you're not going to really want to use a waiver claim on them because ideally or most likely they're owned in one of your leagues. But with Carson potentially coming back, where I think that neck injury is going to linger all season, you're going to see a lot of guys dropping Alex Collins because, you know, Carson's coming back and they don't have the roster spot. If you do have the roster spot, you might want to consider adding Alex Collins because I have a feeling that the Carson thing is going to linger.
He's
And
rostered on mine. I have Carson, so leave it.
I would leave it
Just in
unless
case.
like obviously you got to play the back end of your roster. If
Right.
you have a guy that you
Also start 6
Alex
Cowboys a
Collins
week,
is
so-
pretty much going to be a safe free agent.
Okay.
When I say this, I mean like you have to monitor him closely, but you could use the free agent pool as an extension of your roster if you monitor these players and you don't let them
Got
get
you.
scooped
Got
up
you.
in time. So
And
if
you
have
want
to
and you
stream
want
somebody, you
and
can
you're
drop
all
them.
over Chuba still.
And Chuba
Or
Hubbard because you saw what happened last year. If you made the mistake of dropping Mike Davis after CMC came back, it was unfortunate for you because somebody else then ended up adding him. As soon as CMC came back, he got hurt again. This guy gets hurt all the time. They use him 30 carries a game. You would imagine that it's going to dissipate a little bit. So even if McCaffrey is there, you got to imagine that the fear is there as well in Matt Rule and using him too much. So Chuba
Right.
Hubbard proved that he was a viable running back in the NFL. So he'll definitely get his opportunities either way.
All right.
who
So
else do
there
we got?
are your running back waiver
Oh yeah. Scoop came in, and Khalil Herbert did have 18 touches. He
Who?
out-touched Damian Williams, the Bears.
What's his name?
Khalil Herbert.
Khalil Herbert.
Oh.
But I don't think that he's necessarily worth the ad. I think that was a situation where they were just going to run the shit out of the ball against the Raiders. That was their bread and butter in that game. And David Montgomery is going to come back in 4 weeks, probably, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
So I find it hard to add a guy that is a clear backup, even though he outcarried him. I don't think that's going to continue.
Okie dokie. Well, there are your waiver wires. Hopefully you guys can add some people.
Also, 0 targets for Khalil Herbert.
We didn't go into
We
receivers.
got receivers.
Oh, my bad. All right, so here we go. Receivers. My favorite.
Everybody's
receiver.
favorite. Honestly,
Kadarius Toney's a beast.
I could understand why Cowboys fans or any fans of the NFC East team other than the Giants won't like Kadarius Toney. I, for one, do kind of like that attitude. I think that as a rookie, it's okay. You don't want to see him do things like that later on, but that has zero bearing on fantasy stats.
Mhm.
And he even put up when Daniel Jones went out, he still even put up good numbers. Kadarius Toney is one of those guys where you see him on the field and he has a different speed than everybody else. I could say the same thing about the next guy on the list, Rondale Moore, who for some reason got dropped in a decent amount of leagues last week. So Kadarius Toney and Rondale Moore, take your pick. I think Rondale Moore might have better long-term success this season because of the situation that he's in. The Giants receivers and the Giants front office and the Giants coaching staff, the Giants receivers are deep. They're all injured. They're probably going to get Shep and Slayton back, and Golladay won't be out too long. So I think that the Giants, because they're the Giants, might push him back down on the
Which
depth
is
chart.
insanity.
So for
And I
that
did
reason,
watch
I'm worried
him.
a little
I
bit.
did watch one play where he put Diggs on skates. And I
Yeah,
was like,
this
whoa,
guy's got
all right.
he runs routes
Yeah.
like none other. Very, very advanced route running ability. His
Mhm.
route tree he's got everything on it. And I know that I've been singing the praises of Rashad Bateman. I moved him down from 1 because it's getting a little redundant at this point. So if you haven't added Bateman yet and you haven't listened to my advice yet, you're probably not gonna add him.
He's still on IR.
He's still on IR
officially.
So you can add him and really not even use the roster spot. You might have to trade a roster spot and then add another guy as soon as you IR him. But eventually Rashad Bateman, and on sheer potential alone, and you don't know what he's going to be, you want to add this guy because he could be one of those guys like a Kadarius Toney, where if you added him this week, you got a nice 30-point game out of him. Bateman, you saw Lamar throwing the ball around. They have other weapons, so he could come in and kind of just ease into his role, and I think that there might be some decent volume for him. Another guy that I've been singing the praises of, and yet another performance where it's just not great, but just completely efficient and solid. 7 catches on 9 targets. I think he had like 90 yards. No touchdown, but this is the Tim Patrick we've grown to appreciate over the past, I guess, full season now. Because
Yeah,
by the
he's been
time-
there. Yeah.
When he got the job last year, it was when Cortland Sutton went down. So he's pretty much had a full season. And if you look at the full season of stats, Tim Patrick is definitely shouldn't be owned in only 40% of leagues. And Jamison Crowder, just to fill out the list, he didn't play that great, but the Jets didn't play that great. He still had his targets. And I think that if you're looking for a cheap flex spot and the bye weeks are starting to come up, Crowder might be a
Yeah,
decent
that's
guy.
another thing. The bye weeks are starting to come up. So on Thursday, when we go over, our this or that guy or whatever, there are bye weeks to take into consideration. So
Another perspective I want to bring up with the Crowder thing is that I likely think that Crowder gets traded this season. He has his contract expiring at the end of the season. The Jets really aren't using him to his full potential right now. We saw Braxton Berrios even get touches in the slot last week.
Wow.
Trade deadline with the trade deadline
November
coming up,
2nd, I believe.
I strongly suggest to all you fantasy football people out there to
Get Marlon Mack.
No, well, Marlon Mack, I think that whoever trades for him is a depth situation. I would just turn on your notifications for all your fantasy news because there's going to be some trades where that trades happen. I remember a couple years back, Carlos Hyde got traded to the Texans and Nick Chubb inherited that job. And that was a league winning move. If you were able to add Nick Chubb that season, he went on to rush for like 900 yards the final 8 weeks of the season. So yeah, definitely turn on those notifications. And also Hunter Henry, he's now, I think, ranked at tight end number 8. And the last 2 weeks, he's put up over 13 fantasy points. So if you're desperate at tight end, which about half of you out there might be because tight ends are very slim, I'll go after a Hunter Henry.
All right. Well, there are your official waiver wire picks, considering the, a lot of injuries, a lot of bye weeks coming up. So we definitely have to take those into consideration as we move forward. There is some news. Why not cover some news? This I can't stand at all because I just don't find it necessary. The NFL bids that Germany will be host to some of the NFL games going forward. So they're already doing it in London. Why not move it to Frankfurt? You're right. We're all the Hawksonville Jaguars. Yeah. So I don't agree with this. I think it's shitty for the teams that lose a home game. I don't think it's fair. If you all right. Here's
when are they going to have a Vikings home game in Sweden?
Right. The only thing I'll say about is this: now that there is a 17th game, right, and they have this debate of like who gets the home game, who gets the away game. Now you can start doing this like little these things you want to do. I don't agree with it. I don't understand sending all of our guys over to Germany to play football.
What they should do if they're going to do
they have
this,
televisions.
I don't think
Turn
it's
the damn
fair
TV
to
on.
the teams that have to go. So what they should do is they should have 1 week out of the NFL season where everyone's got to go to a European city.
Just
Like
move
you're going to
entirely
London,
Europe.
bruv. You're going to Birmingham. You're going to Frankfurt. You're going to Paris. You're going to any other Germans, European cities that ran out.
Nah, but
Wanna go to
I
Italy
kinda
or
like
something?
that, though. They should
Florence?
have like an international week and just have it fucking 1 week
imagine-
only. Pew, pew,
Imagine
pew.
they had
Can you imagine like playing in Africa?
a Packers
Like-
a Packers Vikings game in Sweden, and then they had like I could think of some terrible ones that I'll stop because like we could keep going.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't agree with all this stuff. I think it's kind of, I understand what the NFL is trying to do. We already know the juggernaut that is the NFL. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the fact that you got to go and be like, you know what, we're going to post our NFL shield flag right here in Germany and go live, and I'm just like, why?
Look, man,
Nobody, and I don't even know the time zone.
Look.
What if Germany's like a 6 a.m. game? Nobody wants to do that shit.
Look,
I don't know the time
it's a
zones. I'm
money
not
thing.
a,
We talked about it a little
not a
bit yesterday.
geographer.
There's some German fans out there that are probably dying to see.
I'll never forget one of the drunkest days I've ever gotten in my life was the Team USA versus Germany in the World Cup. I think it was 2014 because I was coming down from the ACL injury, so I was on crutches and on
Kick it.
and on pain meds and drinking. Right, it was a bad mix, and there was one Germany fan at Big Shots. I wanted to fight that guy so bad because Germany ultimately won. Because our Team USA sucks.
Dave's a real passionate footy.
Yeah, I'm a big squeaky bump time fan. Go subscribe to that podcast while you're at it. But yeah, so anyway, Germany, I don't really necessarily agree with it, but it is what it is. Anyway, there's other news, right?
There is news. Well, there's a comment. My
Well,
brother commented
bad for
and
running.
said,
He must be
Lamar
behind.
Jackson's not bad for.
he must be
running back.
behind, but yeah, he's not bad for a running back. There is unfortunate news to report. If you're a New York Yankees fan, we all got to bear
We're
witness.
just a baseball fan in general.
Yeah, it's just a
Nobody likes
nasty
the Red
feeling.
Sox.
It's the Red Sox advancing to the ALCS, not DS. It's the ALCS there, AJ. But it's okay. As he flips me off because I'm like,
he
come
literally
on.
asked. He said, "So it's ALDS to ALCS, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's
Yeah.
like, "All right, cool."
I did fucking change it. Maybe just on the wrong slide.
No, but anyway.
Also bad news. How's Steinbrenner's
Oh
yes.
yeah.
We didn't bring that up. We could bring that up as we talk about the shitbag Red Sox. The Red Sox, we're in a very, very lose-lose situation right now because the Astros actually have a chance to advance tonight, and then we're going to watch the Astros and the Red Sox in the ALCS. Somebody shoot me. But I will say that I did read about the Hal Steinbrenner inclined to keep Boone, says it's not Boone's fault for the bad season.
No, it's yours then.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
It's like,
Okay, Mr. Accountable, hold yourself. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here?
Blame
That-
somebody.
You got to blame.
I blame Phil Nevin.
Who is.
I kind of do, but
I mean, in that one moment,
Partially.
yeah, we all blame Phil Nevin. But like, Scoop was here for that. Like, it was catastrophic and took you fucking 4 days to recover, Chris. But even more than that, you're probably still in it.
quite literally.
Yeah. But as far as taking, the Red Sox as a whole, this team wasn't supposed to do any of this stuff this year. They were predicted to be a bad baseball team. I predicted them to actually finish almost near the cellar of the AL East. And now they're proving a lot of people wrong. They got that hype. They got that grit. They do. I hate it. It's disgusting.
Who?
The Red Sox, bro.
Oh,
They're
stop.
playing with some grit, and that's why they're where they are. And that's you think I like to admit this stuff? I don't like the Red Sox. I've pissed on Fenway. Literally.
I can't wait to
urinated.
I can't wait to hear how they cheated and got here.
Oh, it's gonna be great. Alex Cora is gonna be like,
And
well,
I don't mean that.
you
I'm
really
not,
want
I'm
the
not
secret?
knocking them. I went on record and say I want a cheater as my manager.
I
but-
I still don't understand that. But anyway, what else we got,
Let's
AJ?
move on to the other matchup.
Yes, so we do have the Astros who are potentially going to eliminate the White Sox tonight. They hold a 2-1 lead. Again, that is the biggest
Who's
lose-lose
pitching
situation.
for the White Sox?
I don't
Rodon.
know.
I'm trying to get that right now for you guys.
But I say, like I said,
This
lose
game is not- they're not
situation
losing today.
for the Houston Astros to play the Red Sox in the ALCS would be absolutely dreadful for the Yankee fans. But again, you just root for the NL, right?
This game kicks off at 2 today as well.
2:00. So I'll put it on. It's funny.
It is a fire pitching matchup.
Oh, what do we got?
Lance McCullers versus Carlos Rodon.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to
so
bet the White Sox.
I'm
2
gonna
o'clock,
fade
and this
Rodon.
is in Houston or in Chicago.
This is in
So wait, you're betting, you're fading me.
It's in
this
Chicago.
is in
Okay.
Chicago. I'm fading Rodon. Every time I bet on Rodon, he's lost
You
for
want to
me.
just bet $20?
Straight up. Just you want to make a
Eliminate the
$20 bet. All right.
We can-
Anyway, Houston can move on. Who else we got? The Braves. I got a text yesterday from Craig Karsh, resident Braves fan of Shop Sports, where he said he wanted to get, like, what did he say? Remember I told you, Coach, something about
Yes.
a necklace because of somebody? I don't know. One of the guys, I guess, hit a home run or whatever. Anyway, the
Jock
Braves.
Peterson.
Yeah, Jock Peterson,
you didn't
JOC,
get my
right?
penis reference. You were like, what did he want? I was like, penis.
See, I didn't hear that. I talked too loud. But the Braves hold the 2-1 lead. They can advance. The Giants over the Dodgers. This is the one that I don't want to see. I want the Dodgers in the World Series. Why do I want the Dodgers in the World Series?
Because they have the best chance at beating either of those other two teams.
That's exactly why I want them
But
in the
I
World
don't
Series.
know about
And
that.
they got the most entertaining team. Joe Kelly is an absolute legend in my book.
I
He's one of
want
my
Max
favorite
Scherzer
players in the
to
league.
win everything.
What?
I want Max Scherzer to win
That's
everything.
what I'm saying.
I
We
makes
get more
me-
Max. We get
Yankees
more
should have
drunk
went after
Max.
Max Scherzer.
We could still,
Instead
right?
of
What's his
Cole.
contract?
We have a guy whose voice cracks, and they have a guy that like attacks his manager as they take him out.
We got Kermit the friggin' Frog not showing up in a wild card do or
Not
die
even the
game.
good one. Not even like the Patrick Mahomes version. We have the Garrett Cole version.
Just like,
Fucking 2-inning
it's like-
version.
it's like a remedial version of. Oh man, that's bad. But yeah, so hopefully the Dodgers make a little bit of a comeback ski right now as they're down 2-1. The Giants have had a great year. Shout out to my boy Anthony Bowens, wrestler for AEW. He's probably the only San Francisco Giants fan that I know.
I know a couple.
Do you?
Yeah,
I know some Dodgers
I'm not
fans. My friend
I'm not
Kim-
really in touch with them anymore, but I know a few Giants.
My friend Kim wants to go out to LA. Well, I think she lives in Florida, but she wants to go out to LA just to see the mural that they made for Joe Kelly. Like, that's such a badass thing, bro. I'm like, this is great. I love Joe Kelly. Post Red Sox Joe Kelly.
I don't think that the Dodgers have any better of a chance to beat either of those teams than the Giants. The Giants are a really.
I was gonna say Giants
really
are on
good
fire.
team.
Yeah, great.
Really
but I just
good team.
again from a recognizable player standpoint, I couldn't tell you 3 players on the Giants
Yeah,
right
but
now,
that's-
but I could tell you the
Could
whole
you-
lineup for the Dodgers.
Could you tell me how many Giants players there were on the team that won 4 and 5 years? Like the Giants were a dynasty very, very
I remember.
recently.
I remember. Yeah,
but that team, a bunch of the same kind of deal. They don't have.
Remember
they don't
Brian
really have
Wilson?
Stars. Yeah,
my
he was
favorite.
their biggest star.
Well, the beard game was just unbelievable. One of my favorite players in the league. All right, one more thing to cover, and we got some basketball because we did talk about Kyrie before. We had some breaking news that Kyrie Irving is basically out of Brooklyn unless he gets the old shot ski. So that probably won't happen. Listen, here's the thing, and that well, before we get into Ben Simmons, for Kyrie Irving to take his stand now, right, and say, I'm not doing it. Screw you guys. I'll leave all this money on the table, right? Shout out to Kyrie Irving for standing his ground, right? But you are ruining the Brooklyn Nets right now. They are the news because of you. AJ said it last week. It's so unfortunate. The NBA is weeks away from playing their first regular season game. I'm pumped about the Knicks. Other people are pumped about the Nets, but nobody's heard about like predictions of the season or players to watch or anything like that. It's been who's vaccinated and who's not vaccinated. That's garbage. That's such garbage. And I need Kyrie Irving to just man up and say, look, I want to play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets. If this is what I got to do, I'll do it.
Nope. I want him to go elsewhere and honestly stand his ground. I think this is a win-win for us. We're Knicks fans.
Oh, yeah,
Let
no,
him get the fuck out of there, please.
I want him to cry.
Okay. Scoop is a little more morbid back there. Off mic, he said he
That's what
wanted.
I'm Mike
I blame the media. I don't blame the NBA on this one. I do blame the NBA
I
for
blame
the
New
way
York.
they're handling it, but I blame the media and I blame the politicians and I blame just the general public, really. Like, I hate everybody equally. So, Kyrie, I hate you as well, but I kind of agree with you on this one that they shouldn't be forcing people to do things.
I agree.
That's
I
my
agree with
opinion,
that part.
But I'm not the one that stands on the mountaintops and screams what I think people should be doing or not. I kind of just go about my life. So,
Okay.
I'm not anti-vax or anything like that, but I just think that people should be able to choose if they are anti-vax. That's it.
Gooch, my body, My choice. Okay. Anyway, Ben Simmons. So the relationship was supposed to be tarnished, and I don't know if it is anymore. What the hell? I was really excited about Ben Simmons being out of Philadelphia. AJ, what do you know about this?
Apparently, Doc Rivers wants him back real bad.
Doc Rivers is my favorite coach.
There are different reports that are saying that Doc Rivers would welcome back Ben Simmons with open arms. And on top of that, Rich Paul and Ben Simmons, it looks like they're basically getting on their knees and apologizing.
What about the big guy? What about the big guy?
Everybody, here's what it comes down to. They're professionals. They're being paid, and what's fixing this relationship? I'm going to explain exactly what it is in 2 words: $40 million. That's what he leaves on the table if he doesn't show up. So of course Ben Simmons is going to come back because he made his stand, and guess what? He lost, right? And not even that he lost; it's that the league doesn't really have much interest in terms of giving up 3 first rounds or 4 first round picks for a guy that doesn't shoot.
Nobody's going to do that.
So
you can't even shoot. Why would you do that?
Philly mortgaged their franchise years back when they made a bunch of moves, didn't keep Butler. They went against the grain and signed Ben Simmons, which they, I guess, had to do, but they lost a lot of important pieces to a potentially, contending team to keep Ben Simmons in town. Now they're stuck with him, and he's stuck with them. And guess what? Ben Simmons might get traded, but it's not going to be before basketball plays. They're going to start.
And it's not going to be for the asking price that Philadelphia wanted originally. Not a shot.
Look, the best case scenario for Philly is to get him to come back and maybe fix it a little bit, and him kind of right the ship and get in some good graces. But as you start to do that, then what's going to happen is the fan base will start to get behind him again. So you have a small window where if Ben Simmons starts to play better, you'll have. And Ben Simmons last year, bro, during the season, he was elite. And he was an elite defender and everything. I think
Production Pete made a whole reel on Ben Simmons because he was good at one point.
I remember going into the playoffs. I remember saying about one of the series, it might even have been the Knicks. I just remember saying, did the Knicks play the Philly? No, right?
No.
Did the Hawks?
Yes.
Hawks did, yeah.
I thought Ben Simmons was going to lock down Trae Young, and guess what? He did not.
Ice
right?
Trae Young. You mean my favorite player outside
Ben Simmons
of New York
is a good
Knicks?
defender. For whatever reason, he's got the yips in the playoffs and down the stretch in the fourth quarter. That's not going to change. Hopefully it does, but Philly's stuck with him, and Ben Simmons is stuck with them.
We'll see.
$40 million.
We shall see. So that is all of your news as we go. I know you have to bring Chucky one more time on the screen. It's been a hell of a day. It's been a hell of a night. I mean, it's unfortunately, we couldn't even focus on the actual football game because of all the John Gruden shit. But you got to, as a sports media company and a podcast, you got to talk about it. And that's unfortunate because you just want to get back to talking about sports and not allegations or vaccinations or anything like that. But that's the world we live in now. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. But yeah, that'll be that. So we got some elimination games going down tonight. Brand new podcast on the network right now, Jimmy Palumbo Show. Go download that. He talks all about Craig Mashad, his right fielder, left fielder. What position do you play?
Right center
fielder for Corona Construction back in the day, which was a Wednesday, by the way. I don't know if anybody gets that reference. Nobody's No, it's a Dane Cook reference. Yes, okay.
I wonder why I didn't get it. What a terrible.
It's like back in the day, which was a Wednesday, by the way. But anyway, so all the podcasts, go check those guys out. Subscribe to the network. Guys, do me a favor. If you're watching this on Facebook, head on over to YouTube right now and hit subscribe.
Please, guys, don't tell me that you're fans of Dane Cook.
I was a fan. I was a fan about Dane Cook. He was good in the beginning. He was funny in the beginning, and then he just fell off the face of the earth. He looks like shit, though, too. Boy, oh boy, he fell.
I've never laughed at one thing he's ever said.
That's a lie.
Ever.
Liar.
Oh, no.
Liar. Somebody, I don't know. Somebody just said talking about the greatest comebacks in NFL history. I mean, we talked in length about the Ravens, if that's what you're going for. Yes, YouTube. Go over Chop Sports Media on YouTube. Go subscribe. Today, we just passed 200 subscribers. So we're on our way. We started with, guess what? We started with 0. So we're on our way. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow the podcast network. We want to thank you guys for listening as we edge towards more bigger things, including a sign that's going to go outside, which is going to be really fun to finally see go up. So for Sturch and Gooch, and of course, AJ Bascon behind the glass. And of course, thank you, Mr. Scoop Espo, for coming in and hanging out with us. This has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on a hump day.
I have a great close.
We're gonna go Schwanzenstrudel instead of penis.
It's about drive. It's about power. We stay hungry. We devour. Put in the work. Put in the hours and take what's ours. Black and Samoan in the veins. My culture banging with strange. I changed the game, so what's my motherfucking name? What they gonna get, though? Desecration, defamation. If you want to bring it to the masses face to
this
face
Rock?
now, we escalated when I have to put post-its to asses. Mean on you like a dream when I'm rumbling. You're gonna scream, mama. So bring drama to the King Brahma coming at you with extreme mana. Peace out.
Dane Cook's still not funny.
No, that was The Rock. Just so you know.